Hi everyone, it's Nikki here. I wanted to do a blog about how to give yourself a professional looking manicure. I'll be honest when I say that I've only started becoming more self-conscious about my nails recently. I would say within the last 6 months. But I try and do it every week. I get bored with color, so I like changing it up a bit. And so I've gotten pretty good at it, and I'd like to share some of my tips with you all. To start, I would take a little bit of nail polish remover and just make sure that the nails are indeed clean. So to start off, I'm going to file the nail. You could use a cardboard file like this. Or you could use one of these, and it's a glass file. This one is by Revlon. I used to use these a lot, but the glass ones are a lot better because it's a little more gentle on the nails, and it's because it's so gentle. You might have to just work it a little harder, but this one's a lot better, and I feel like I have more control using this file opposed to the cardboard file, which obviously bends easily and everything. So you would just start off by shaping your nails. You could either do something very square or something a little more oval. My nails right now are shaped the way I like them, so I'm not going to really go into how to shape them because everyone is different when it comes to nail shapes. So once you do that, it's time to buff. Again, you could use one of these. I like using the block. This one has 4 sides. So, you would just start off by, just making sure that the nail is smooth. Sometimes, you'll experience a little bit of breakage, especially, I experience breakage at the top of my nail here. My nails experience a lot of peeling. So when you do this, I'm just going to do this really quickly. Just make sure that you get all around the nail. And then I like to just buff it out. And this is important to do to your nails just because it really does smooth out the edges a bit, and it just makes it a lot easier to work with. Once I'm finished with that, it's time to move on to the cuticles. This right here, I love this stuff. This is Sally Hansen Instant Cuticle Remover, and it's a very clear gel that you put onto your cuticles. So I'll show you this right now. Sorry about blocking it, but you would just put them into the corner, and I don't know if you probably can't see it on camera, but it's just in the edges. You could see it right there a little bit. I would keep it there for about 15 to 20 seconds. And then take an orange wood stick. So once that's finished, you would just push the cuticles back. It gets rid of the cuticles that grow up onto the actual nail. And it's kind of gross, but you can see here that right here is actually it's going to be gross, but it's like a little bit of like gunk, and it's actually the cuticles being removed. So once that's all back, you'd want to clip the cuticles. You feel like I have a little more control using an actual cuticle clipper. But you have to be very careful with this, because if you overclip the corner, right here, the sides of your fingers, they'll get red and they'll get sore. I actually did that a few weeks ago, and it didn't really help so much. So, if you see some loose skin, just work around it here, and, really, start taking off, the loose skin that's around the fingernails. You would just go around and do that, but pretty much just go around each nail and just carefully take it off. After you finish with removing the cuticles, you would wash your hands in just some lukewarm water. And I like to use a nail brush when I wash them, just to make sure that it's all off, make sure that any excess nail polish that was there is off. And then I strongly recommend that you use a base coat before actually painting the nails for two reasons. One, because it definitely helps avoid chipping, um, and two, because if you're using a dark color, which I tend to do a lot, it's really good to prevent staining on the nail. I use Nail Tech Foundation 2 base coat. I don't know if you could see it there. I love this stuff. It goes on really smoothly and actually creates a matte finish and dries really quickly, so you could start your nails right away. If you don't want to use this, because I actually don't know where to find this in stores. I have actually ordered it, I think, off Amazon, and I think it was only like $3. Or you could use anything by I hope I'm saying this right. It's called Chess Base. I know it's like a French name, so I'm sorry if I can't pronounce it. This is a ridge filling base coat. When you start to do your nails, start from the pinky and work your way into the thumb. Because if you start out with the thumb, then it means you're going to have to go across, and you might risk getting your, rubbing your hand against your fingers. So, and there's my phone again. Sorry. So you would just sorry if the quality isn't so good. I'm just using just the camera that's on my MacBook. And you will see here that already the pinky, I don't know if you could see, but it's dry and it's just created a matte finish. And this stuff is really good. I really like it. And then I'm going to use a bright red color so you guys could see what I'm doing. This is by Butter London, and it's called Knees Up. So, and I hope that I do this right under pressure. When you paint the nail, I would start probably 3/4 of the way down the nail, and I don't know if how well you guys could see this, but if you press down on the nail 3/4 of the way down, then slide the brush back and then work your way up to the tip. That just creates a line down at the bottom of the cuticles. When you are doing your nails, I would keep a little bit of space between the sides of your nails, because like I said, you don't want to get it on the cuticles like I kind of just did right there. Not bad, but talking and doing this at the same time is a little difficult. You could see like right here that I didn't completely go to the end, and it looks a lot better than getting nail polish all over the place. So just finish this up quickly. Some people say to do 3 strokes on the nails in order to create less of a mess. I have kind of a wide nail bed, so I kind of have to do more than that. So just do whatever you're comfortable with, but it is true, the more you do, the messier it is. Okay. And as you could see, there's really no nail polish that is on the cuticles. It actually turned out to be pretty good, and I'm proud of myself considering I'm on tape right now and kind of on video right now and kind of at a weird angle. So it turned out pretty good. I would definitely recommend doing a second coat. The first coat is more of just a guide for the second coat, so the second coat's going to be a lot easier. And it looks like this nail polish dries pretty quickly, but I would leave the nail polish to dry for about a minute or two, because going over it again while it's still wet, again, it could be a little messy. So if you keep it for a little bit, just a couple minutes, you should be good. So then you're going to do a second coat. And if you make mistakes, I would honestly, if it's not too bad, I would recommend letting it dry a little bit. And then when it's finished and the nails are set, then I would recommend going back with a Q-tip, put a little nail polish remover on it, and going back and cleaning it up. Or they actually have nail corrector pens, which I don't actually have, but they are good for cleaning up, cleaning up the nail. Okay. And there you have it for your polish. And like I said, it looks pretty good. There's really no mistakes. And, like I said, if it wasn't for this stuff and removing the cuticles, then it could have been a mess. Now, like I said, before, even before doing a top coat, I would let it sit for a second. Okay, and just let it sit, let it set, because if you put on the gloppy top coat, which a lot of top coats tend to be a little, goopy, then again, you could just ruin the polish and ruin the work that you did. But when it does come time for a top coat, which, like I said, this seems to be drying pretty quickly, so I am going to move on. This is another, this is a great top coat. I like using Fast Dry top coat. This one is by Seche Vite. I think in French it actually means like quick dry or something like that. So I like using this one because it is a little more has a watery base and it goes on really smoothly. This dries really quickly, and I pretty much could, just jump back into whatever I was doing quickly with this. You could also use Posh Quick Dry, which is also pretty good, but it's got a little more thicker base, and this one's just, like I said, this one's just a lot better. You could also use any Quick Dry Top Coat by Sally Hansen. This stuff, I swear by. I really do like this stuff, and you could find it in, in drugstores. I got this at CVS, or you could get it at, get it at Ulta. Or any beauty supply store. So, so when you do your top coat, and I forgot to mention this about the nail polish, when you come out of the, the top with the brush, wipe to the side. I'm sorry, I don't know why I didn't mention that. And make sure that you have a good amount on there. Okay, and, and then just apply it on. And as you could see, my nails are dry enough where it doesn't look like the top coat is messing with the polish at all. Everything seems to be staying put. This one is just so shiny and totally completes the look. I absolutely love it. And like I said, this and the Posh top coat really do have very shiny finishes. Okay. And there I am. I am finished with my manicure, and I think it looks pretty good. Not so bad for doing this at like 10 o'clock at night after a long day. So it looks pretty good. I hope you guys enjoyed this step-by-step tutorial and tips. If this goes over well, maybe I'll make a few more of these with some nail art and maybe even some makeup tutorials. So if you like it on the Facebook page, like it on the blog, comment on it. Please ask any questions that you may have, and I would be happy to answer them. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye.